Let's hear it. Let's celebrate. Finally. Wow. Took 14 months. I was waiting for the vuvuzelas. It's not a celebration without the vuvuzelas. All right, KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. We are on from 3 to 6 every day, the John Kobylt Show. And after 6 every day is the podcast, John Kobylt Show on demand, to hear what you missed. And I hope please stick with us. You don't want to miss today. We start off with great news. You heard it in Deborah's newscast. The idiot, Janisse Quiñones, the CEO and chief engineer of the LADWP, the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, has finally been tossed out. He's finally been gone. Karen Bass is running for re-election, and she is cleaning out the barn. And she got the shovel, and she shoveled up Janisse Quiñones and dumped her out into a field.
Ouch!
Where there are probably majority, high percentage of incompetent bureaucrats in all layers of government. But I tell you, this lady is first ballot Hall of Fame material. Janisse Quiñones never filled the 117 million gallon reservoir, the Santa Ynez Reservoir in the Pacific Palisades. So when the fire broke out and the firefighters showed up, few of them, they didn't have 117 million gallons of water because Janisse Quiñones drained the reservoir. They needed a new, what amounted to was a pool cover. And they should have done that in a month. And it took Janisse Quiñones over a year. Now, mind you, it doesn't need a pool cover. They claim it was to protect the drinking water. The Santa Ynez Reservoir was created for fire purposes. There was a terrible fire, the Bel Air fire in 1961. And according to the Los Angeles Times, and this was from a 1964 edition of the paper, they built a reservoir to address the lack of water, which they needed for the Bel Air fire. And they said, if we have another fire, now we're going to have a reservoir. It was built to put out fires. In addition, you could use it for drinking water. But as we found out in 2024, when the reservoir was empty for a year, that did not impact drinking water supply in the Palisades at all. It was completely unnecessary. Now, Janisse Quiñones was a diversity hire. Nobody rational, intelligent, reasonable would ever look at Janisse Quiñones' resume for more than 30 seconds without tossing it in the trash can. And if you met her and heard her talk, you'd call security and have her taken out. This is a terminally stupid woman. Let me put it to you this way. If there was a quiz to get the job, right, and the quiz had one question, fire season is approaching, you have a 117 million gallon reservoir sitting in a high fire danger region. Do you A, fill it up, or B, leave it empty? One question, you get the job. She would have picked B, leave it empty, which is what she did. But she kept the job. Not only that, they found that there was 1,300 fire hydrants busted. 1,300. Now, she's got two jobs. It's DWP, Department of Water and Power. The W stands for water. So you had to fill the reservoir with water. And then you need the fire hydrants to help disperse the water. That's your main job. And if there's a problem, you have to have a backup supply coming from somewhere else, which they've installed now. They're importing water from the other side of the mountain just in case. Because Janisse Quiñones, after stupidly emptying the reservoir and shutting it down, just a few weeks ago, she emptied it again and shut it down. The thing is empty right now. after costing nearly 7,000 homes and businesses, after watching nearly 7,000 homes and businesses burn down. The fire department ran out of water in, 18 hours. It was over. They had no water. Firefighters were standing all over the Palisades with their hands in their pockets going, sorry, we're out of water. Out of water. I know people. I've got friends. I've got acquaintances who live in the Palisades, and they told me, yeah, the guys were standing around, and if you approached them, it's like, hey, where's your hose? Why aren't you putting out the fire? I have no water. Because Janisse Quiñones emptied the reservoir, and the fire hydrants were broken. And she kept her job. Because when someone is hired for diversity purposes, they can never be fired. And they're not. Unless, of course, you embarrass Karen Bass, which is what Kristen Crowley did. So even though she was diverse as well, she got kicked out. Janisse Quiñones was making $750,000 a year. She made probably $2 million since she was hired. $2 million. And she couldn't fill the reservoir. And she couldn't fix the fire hydrants. She never told anybody either. As far as I know, Karen Bass and Kristen Crowley didn't even know the reservoir was empty. They didn't know the fire hydrants were all broken. Of course, they should have made their business to find that out. But today we're dancing on Janisse Quiñones' professional grave. What's shocking is she's actually getting another job. She's taking over. She's taking over the in Puerto Rico, the agency that provides electricity. She's going to take a leadership role to help build Puerto Rico's electrical grid. Seriously. She's going back to Puerto Rico, that's where she was born, to support the modernization and transformation of the electric grid. That's what Bass's office said. Because, they had a hurricane almost 10 years ago. They've never been able to get their electrical situation back together. They have chronic power outages. They have a 33% energy shortfall. Their plants are really old. They run on oil. They have $9 billion in debt. In fact, people endure more blackouts in Puerto Rico than anywhere in the United States. And now they're putting her in charge of this? What's she going to do? She was too dumb to fill the reservoir. She was too dumb to fix the hydrants. Oh, second part of the fire catastrophe in the Palisades. And everybody forgets this. And this is on video. She never shut off the electricity to parts of the Palisades that hadn't burned yet. And then the power poles, there's something called, I think, an H pole. It's two upright poles connected by a crossbeam. And it has electrical wires attached to it. Well, on video, you could see the poles, the crossbeam, the whole H fall down and crash to the ground, brings down the electrical wires, which were still live, and it set the brush on fire. And that started another subfire and completely wiped out a neighborhood. This was 12 hours after the fire started. This was the night of January 7th. She never turned off the electrical power. After not filling the reservoir, after not fixing the hydrants, after not telling anybody. I don't think there's ever been an executive in a position of a utility that has ever done more damage, more quickly, with more stupid decisions in the history of the United States. And then after it happened, she never spoke about it. She never made any public statements, never answered any questions, never apologized, never explained. She just went on collecting her $2 million. We'll have more coming up. You can follow us at John Kobylt Radio on social media. at John Kobylt Radio. And on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We put out videos every day after the show, most days. YouTube.com/at John Kobylt Show. YouTube.com/at John Kobylt Show. And join the thousands who've already signed up to subscribe. Now, we got a couple of Janisse Quiñones clips. Not that they're particularly important in and of themselves, but just to give you an idea what she sounded like. She sounded like an idiot. So play whatever you have there, cut number one.
You call it powered by equity, and I know that it's been really important for the DWP to put an equity lens on everything.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the number one thing that attracted me to this role. Coming from the communities that I come, seeing what I've seen through my career in utilities and through the military. I've been in the Coast Guard 19 and a half years now, so I got 6 more months to qualify for my 20 years, which was my original goal.
Wow, congratulations, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, thank you.
Who the hell interviewed
It's
her?
important to me that everything we do, it's with an equity lens and social justice and making sure that we right the wrongs that we've done in the past from an infrastructure perspective, and that we involve the community in that process. And this utility is serious about it, is authentic about it. And so I'm just super excited to be part of that movement.
Did you hear that? What attracted her to the job was that everything they did at the LADWP was through the equity lens. And that she was very proud of the LADWP's involvement in social justice. She didn't mention anything about making sure, reservoirs are filled, hydrants are fixed, electric lines are functioning properly. She was there for the equity and diversity and the social justice. She had no business running the DWP, none. And she wasn't hired to run a water and power utility. Karen Bass hired her because they would get all aroused over social justice and equity and diversity and inclusion and all that other rot. Well, so of course the Palisades burned down. Of course the reservoir was empty. Of course the electric poles and the wires came tumbling down. Of course the hydrants were all busted. They were in meetings all day talking about equity and diversity and inclusion and social justice. They weren't running a utility. They were running some kind of bizarre social project. Ay, ay, ay. God, I forgot about that. What's the other clip you have? That was better than I thought.
My intent is to continue to do that, continue to execute on the things that we do well, and improve on the things that we need to make improvements on to serve our customers in an equitable way.
Equitable. That was after the fire, right? That clip. That was after. Serve our customers in an equitable way. Why, they were like religious zealots. What does equity have to do with anything? Keep the water flowing. Keep the electricity flowing. What's that? What's this equity? That is a word I didn't even hear of 5 years ago. It just suddenly popped up, and in the media, the progressive movement, and then everything was equity. Although in a way, it was very equitable. She wiped out just about the whole town. She wiped out men, women, white, black, Hispanic, you name it. The fire wiped everybody out. It was a very equitable fire. Like I said, I think she's below the Newsom line. IQ-wise, that is sub 93. That is below the Newsom line for IQ. It's actually scary listening to her because you realize that she really was in charge. And I think LA is the largest utility in the whole country. And she was at the largest municipal utility in the United States. Water and electricity to 4 million people. 681,000 water customers, that's households, $1.5 million electric customers, and that lady was in charge. Miss Diversity, Equity, Social Justice. That's why she was attracted to the job. So she wasn't interested in fixing fire hydrants or filling the reservoir or making sure electricity was turned off to power lines in the middle of the most devastating fire for a city in U.S. history. Is everybody diverse? Is everybody feeling equitable today? $750,000 a year. This is Karen Bass's hire. Obviously, 100% Karen Bass hire. Diversity, equity, and incompetence.
You want one more?
That's what the I in DEI stands for. Diversity, equity, and incompetence. Yes, play one more.
Well, I'd like to start by highlighting the comments that Commissioner Katz says and wishing everybody a happy Earth Day. We have, as of April 10, a new exhibit in the lobby at the museum space called Sustainability at LADWP, A Greener Tomorrow. This new multi-panel exhibit was created in celebration of Earth Month.
That was after the fire, too. That was one of the few times she spoke publicly to carry on about Earth Day and Earth Month. This can't be true. I mean, I remember these clips when we played them the first time.
One more small one.
You got a small one? Another one?
To move water into the part of our system that has been impacted. We're performing our own trenching, excavation, and repairs, and that it's allowing us to move faster.
That is just, the whole thing's unbelievable. And this, by the way, this is why Karen Bass, you have to vote no on Karen Bass and vote against Karen Bass, because she thought Janisse Quiñones was not only great and smart and talented and diverse and inclusive and equitable and excited about social justice. How could, if you're just delivering water and power, what has that got to do with social justice and equity? Why would that get you excited and make you attracted to a job? What you should be looking and seeing whether all the water is getting to its destination and all the electricity is. And the bills are really high, as we know. How about making the whole system less expensive by getting out of the green energy racket scam? Yes. Let's continue the celebration. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. The John Kobylt Show, on from 3 to 6 every day. The vuvuzelas. It signals the end of Janisse Quiñones as the head of the DWP here in Los Angeles. Again, we have a podcast after 6 o'clock, John Kobylt Show on demand. And in case you've been missing the celebration, that's what you're going to want to go to after 6 o'clock. We're in the middle of it right now. Yes, Janisse Quiñones is leaving. She was an idiot among idiots. $750,000 salary annually to run the DWP. And she never filled the 117 million gallon reservoir in the Pacific Palisades. It was bone dry empty right to the bottom when that fire hit on January 7th of 2025. Never filled it up. It took them a year to get a new cover, which they didn't need because the thing was built originally for fire use. As we've been playing clips, highlights, Janisse Quiñones rarely spoke in public in the last year and a half. She never explained, defended, apologized. She never resigned. Oh, that also is funny. The reason she's leaving, according to Karen Bass, it's part of a, quote, planned leadership transition. Yes, the plan was, you got to get out of here before the re-election campaign starts. because eventually Karen Bass has got to deal with debates, right? And I mean, most of the media here has had their genitals cut off, and they're afraid to confront her. But at least one of the candidates would probably say, "Hey, tell me, Karen, why didn't you fire Janisse Quiñones since she had the reservoir left empty and there was 1,300 fire hydrants broken, and she left the power running through the lines that night, which started more fires? Why didn't you fire her? In fact, what would it take to fire the head of the DWP? Burning down the Palisades wasn't enough for Bass to fire her. But now, like I said before, they got to clean out the barn. There's a re-election campaign. So now she's going to be part of a planned leadership transition. And she hasn't spoken much. And when she spoke, it was usually about gobbledygook, like diversity and equity and Earth Day. Here is a little clip of Karen Bass defending why she decided to pay her $750,000.
Let me just say that the DWP is the nation's largest utility. And if you compare our utility to Omaha, Nebraska, where the salary was around the same, a small town, I mean, a big town maybe in Nebraska, but small compared to Los Angeles. And so to me, I want to get the best talent around the nation. And we did a national search, and that's what it took. She took a significant pay cut to come to work for Los Angeles.
Wow.
A national...
I guess I'm in the wrong line of work. So what?
All right, so stop it there. That's Alex Michelson. A national search?
And she took, oh my God, a significant pay cut to come to Los Angeles?
She was working for PG&E, which is the world's leader in starting fires. PG&E has killed more people and burned more buildings than any other entity in the United States. So of course she worked at PG&E. Of course she would come to Los Angeles. By the way,
thank you so much.
She was making double. Her predecessor was named Martin Adams, and he only made half as much. And she made 2.5 times as much as Karen Bass. Karen Bass's salary is $300,000, and Quiñones is getting $750,000, and couldn't fill the reservoir. You know, I was coming up with like a series of one-question job interviews. I mentioned before, one question for Janisse Quiñones when she was getting hired. You have an empty reservoir. It could hold 117 million gallons. When fire season comes, should we fill the reservoir or not? A, yes. B, no. Then I'm thinking, here's something for Karen Bass. Here's one question. You get warnings, extreme wind warnings, extreme fire danger warnings. Should you A, go to Africa, or B, stay home? Well, she chose Africa. And then Kristen Crowley. Hey, we've got huge fire warnings, huge wind warnings. Should you A, send 1,000 firefighters home that morning, or B, keep them for a second shift? She chose A. She sent everybody home. But they were all diverse. Now, I haven't heard these next clips, but they were posted online. And this is the council president, Marquise Harris Dawson, who, by the way, was technically in charge the day of the fire because Karen Bass was in Africa. And the deputy mayor in charge of police and fire was a guy named Brian K. Williams. But he was on house arrest in his home because he'd called in a fake bomb threat to City Hall. And they arrested him and told him to stay in his house. So the next one on the list to be in charge was Marquise Harris Dawson. But nobody heard from him until 3 p.m. when he sent an email saying, "Can I be of any help?" By then, half the Palisades had already burned down. Can I be of help? Well, amazingly, he's still in charge of the city council. And in the middle of the meeting, somebody informed that Quiñones is leaving. And listen to the reaction.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Rodriguez. And we should get busy because in the time we've been talking, the leader of DWP has announced her resignation. Councilmember Jurado.
I made a mistake. I rescind my request to speak. That was a mistake. Thank you.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Is that serious or a joke? Well, that's interesting news that we will have to deal with now. No, but I just want to thank you so much for being here and for giving this presentation. And for me, I feel like I know some of this
That's
in my sleep.
Mrs. Hernandez. Is that serious or is that a joke? Well, she should have been fired on January 8th. She lasted another 14 months and made another, $850,000. Is that serious or that a joke? And we got another clip, right? And this is Marquise Harris Dawson.
Announcements, members?
Right, yeah.
All right, seeing no announcements, the leader of my legislative team is smiling because it looks like our DWP leader is going to Puerto Rico, her homeland, his homeland. So she's really needed there. So I'm excited that they were going to make that connection.
She's really needed there. What? Does the island need to be burned down? You want to wipe that whole island out? She's needed there. Ay. Oh, we can't forget this. Our friend Dan. Oh, I'll read this when we come back. We're that far behind. We're having too much fun today. This is like the best celebration to dance on somebody's political grave we've ever had. John Kobylt Show, and coming up. Well, what do we got coming up after 3 o'clock? Oh, we've been celebrating Janisse Quiñones, the idiot who ran DWP and destroyed the Palisades. Didn't fill up the reservoir, didn't turn off the electricity to the power lines when they came down later that night, had 1,000 broken hydrants that she never fixed. And now she's going to Puerto Rico to destroy that island. They're putting her in charge of the Puerto Rican electrical grid, which never came back from a hurricane 9 or 10 years ago. We were playing the clips when the LA City Council found out that Quiñones was leaving. And you may have heard there was one councilwoman, Janisse Hernandez, says, is that serious or is that a joke? Well, I'm looking at video of the moment, and she's wearing a brightly colored, flowery shirt. Let me tell you, this lady is seriously overfed. I mean, she can't even fit into the camera shot. She looks like she ate East Los Angeles. I mean, she just, whoa. I didn't know they made them like that anymore. Janisse Quiñones got an award, the LA Times Studios Inspirational Women Awards. You remember this? I'd forgotten this. Daniel Gus, our friend, sent us this. Under the Education, Nonprofit, and Government category, Janisse Quiñones, CEO, Chief Engineer of LADWP. How do you like that? Chief Engineer. The Inspirational Women Forum and Leadership Awards now in its 5th year, and the Hallmark Initiative of the LA Times Studios. They put out videos that nobody watches. It's dedicated to spotlighting women who lead with integrity, vision, and purpose. Integrity, vision, and purpose. She burnt down the Palisades. She couldn't fill a hole with water. Ay. They had all these panel discussions that created a rich tapestry of perspectives. When she was at these, was she on a panel? Did they ask her, why didn't you fill up the reservoir? Why didn't you fill up the hole? Why didn't you fix the hydrants? Why didn't you turn off the power? It says here they get these awards because of a shared vision of a future where women lead with innovation, courage, and purpose. Innovation, courage, and purpose. The LA Times actually gave Janisse Quiñones that award. Jeez.